Coming up on this episode of Outlook TV, Surrey's So You Think You Can Drag.
A profile on Amanda Roberts.
Calgary's Coronation. Hello and welcome to Outlook TV. I'm Emily Ann Fraser.
And my name is T. We'd like to thank the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh Nations for the honor and privilege to film this episode of Outlook TV on their traditional unceded lands.
Outlook TV is the queer magazine news show that brings you the stories that matter the most from coast to coast.
David's got our first story about the village people.
Well, actually, T, it's a story on So You Think You Can Drag, happening in Surrey, where we dress up 5 members of the community, ranging from businessmen to politicians. Check it out.
The Surrey Pride Society does a lot of work for the members of Surrey's queer community, and they need money to do that. So some local politicians, MLAs, and business leaders have come together to do drag for the very first time, and So You Think You Can Drag too.
It takes a lifetime to become the best that we can be. We have not the time or the right to judge each other.
We are actually doing a great big extravaganza. It's a fundraiser for various charities, from the firemen right down to Back on Track recovery. So we're out making money. It is called So You Think You Can Drag.
It's an important fundraiser for Surrey Pride for multiple reasons. One, because of all of the anti-SOGI stuff that's going on in our city. 2, because of the hate of drag. And 3, because of the whole right wing has started to come back up and surface and attack our community. So this is putting 5 people who have never done drag before in very prominent positions in our city, taking the opportunity to support us and raise funds for their charities.
Oh, I'm looking forward to getting these hunky men all dressed up as luscious ladies and get them out there to perform and raise some money for a good cause.
My strategy to try to survive is just go there and just give it all, just have fun and don't think about anything.
Tonight I'm most looking forward to seeing how entertaining these people can be, because there are some people who are in very high power positions in the city and in government. We have an MLA tonight performing drag for the first time as a sitting MLA in the history of British Columbia. And we also have the CEO or the president of Surrey Board of Trade. So there's big names have come into this. So I'm really excited to see, with all of the knowledge that we have of how they're preparing, to see what comes out tonight. I think it's going to be highly entertaining.
Oh, my drag name is Miss Harmony, and my tagline is, I'm not cheap, I'm affordable. Oh, I'm participating because I believe in an inclusive community, and Surrey Pride has been very helpful with some of the more marginalized communities in Surrey, and so now it's my turn to support them, and I very much appreciate the work they do.
The audience is going to be dazzled, a lot of money is going to be raised, and we're all going to get a little bit more glamorous. Surrey Pride, So You Think You Can Drag too. I'm David C. Jones for Outlook TV.
Coming up next, this homosexual went to Calgary.
Excuse me, I'm straight. But this homosexual, Fancy, went to Calgary to report on Calgary Coronation.
We are at Calgary Coronation 48, Queer Prom 1987. Let's go and celebrate 2 amazing people who volunteered 1 year of their lives to fundraise and do community service.
Our year was surrounded by community. We really wanted to have vibrant, supportive communities, and we focus on 6 charities, which is a lot in a year. But one of the main ones that we wanted to do, because we were the House of Trans, was to support Skipping Stones, and especially the young people that access the service there, or at least to bring awareness about their programs. So we did a couple of events at Dickens with some of our trans leaders, and it was really successful, and we had a lot of visibility. We had over 150 people come, so that was important to us. We also did some events with seniors. So we tried to connect the youth with our elders to speak about what community is. So I'm really proud of that.
Losing my timing this love.
I think one of my biggest highlights looking back would be my weekly show I did, because I held a weekly show every Friday at the Backlot here in Calgary, and I got to raise money every night by bidding off numbers. So I didn't even know what song it was going to be most of the time. I just got given it, and then it's just a lot of fun. And then the community really showed out. I had a lot of new performers, new to like court stuff, join me in the shows, and I had a lot of fun.
And I'll tell you mine, I'm all ears. Take your time.
We're an international court system, and it's always great to have Canadians come to American cities, and it's just a return that we do for Canadians. I absolutely love our Canadian family.
It is just going to be about stepping back into the 80s. For some of us that are a little older, prom was a really fun event. For those that are graduating now, I think there's a lot of stress on really expensive outfits. I think back in the day, we just enjoyed the music, we enjoyed each other's company, and of course there was some focus on losing your virginity. So we made sure that there's lots of product here to keep people safe, because we're also about keeping people safe and consent. So that's exciting. It's just going to be fun.
The third recipient was the Ted North Medal of Honor, also goes to Jackalicious.
Fantastic rain this year, and you know, I think they're a very strong court, and they won't have a problem getting to 50 and beyond. And the big thing that all the courts have to do is we got to get more people involved, and we got to encourage more of the youth to come in and join us. Sometimes they feel we're too cliquish and we're too, closed-minded. We don't want them in. So that's what we really got to work on, and that's one of my big things that I want to try to push, is getting more of the younger people involved in all the courts.
Hip hip! Hip hip! Hip hip!
Congratulations, Your Majesties. From Calgary, Alberta, my name is Empress Sister Fancy Pants for Outlook TV.
We have to take a little break now.
Who is this Fancy? Is she here? Can I meet her?
In Calgary.
Oh.
See ya.
Welcome back to Outlook TV. Andre takes us all the way over to Toronto for a very special reason.
Here's a story on Amanda Roberts, a local drag icon who's been doing drag for over 30 years.
Hello everyone, salut tout le monde. Drag culture has evolved over the past decades. Classic performances are always cherished. Amanda Roberts has been delighting his audiences for many years. Let's meet her.
And then we went to the next bar and somebody said, "What's your name?" I said, "Amanda." And I said, "There already is an Amanda." So we figured, oh, you need a last name. And somebody said Roberts. I said, that sounds good together. We'll go with that. I started performing professionally, technically, in 1993. I started at the Playground in Toronto. Was there every Friday and Saturday. I have always liked impersonations. And that's what I love most about drag. Celine is my most popular. I've been doing her the longest. And Cher, because I'm a huge Cher fan ever since I was a little boy on a shag carpet watching the TV show. But my one idol that means the most to me is Annie Lennox. I've had the chance to meet her, dressed as her, and she inspires me a lot because she does so much activism work, and she's not just a performer, but she's out there. Actually, my second time on stage was at the Miss Newcomer pageant. And then from then on, I would enter Miss Gay Toronto and Miss Gay Universe, which Chris Edwards produced for many years. In 2000, that's when I won Miss Gay Toronto. And it was the first time I entered a pageant singing live. Once they created a division called Continental Elite for performers over 40, and I won Miss Heart of America to go on to compete at nationals, where I placed second runner-up. At one point I had my own agency where I would get a lot of the entertainers in the city work. On the show Queer as Folk, all the drag queen background performers were booked through my agency. I worked all 5 seasons in and out of drag because I'm an actor member, so I made good money all the time. There used to be a place in Toronto called the Lacage Dinner Theatre. Well, it was Dale Barnett, a fabulous Cher impersonator and a wonderful human being, that got me an audition there. And Gunther hired me on the spot to do Celine. And now I'm lucky because Deceiving Divas, the troupe I work with, is very similar. We do all character impersonation. Our host is Joan Rivers. One of my biggest inspirations when I first started was Jack A. Baker. We were best friends, and Jack A. made all my costumes, and I would travel with him all the time. It's actually how I got started at Woody's, was coming as his dresser and helping him all the time, and eventually they booked me in to be his guest in the show. And all I kept hearing was how amazing Michelle Ross is, she's so amazing, she's so amazing. And the first show back was at Colby's when he moved back to Canada. And everybody went there. And I looked up and I was like, wow, I was so blown away. I think a lot of the younger generation were raised on Drag Race. They started learning about drag from Drag Race, whereas we learned from our predecessors.
To thank you all for being here. Thank you for giving us the chance to perform for you.
Thank you, Amanda Roberts, for spending time with us. Andre Tardif at Woody's in Toronto for Outlook TV.
Fancy's got our next story on the international court system and their inclusion of 10 important Canadian heirs on the International Court Council.
The International Court Council is made up of volunteers from all over North America, doing good deeds on an international scale. This year, there's increased Canadian representation, and we are finding out more about those individuals.
Ms. Drew, fourth in line of succession, Tri-Cities, Ontario.
2024 International Court Council consists of a historic record of, I believe, 10 heirs, but that has to do with the Emperor-to-elect John Ribson, election as the successor of King Father I Terry and I. So there should be more representation. I think he's laying the groundwork for his crowning, which should soon happen.
One becomes an heir 2 ways, typically. One is through an invitation from Queen Mother Nicole herself, or your board of directors or your college of monarchs can nominate you and present that to Queen Mother for approval.
Starting off with, we have Jaylene Time, Empress of Vancouver, British Columbia. We have Sister Fancy Pants, Empress of British Columbia. We have myself, Sabrina H. Seville, Empress. I live in the realm of Calgary, but I represent, at the moment, Calgary, Regina, and Winnipeg. We have Big Daddy Pump. He represents Edmonton, Alberta. Doogie Trouser, representing Winnipeg. Richard Renault, representing London, Ontario. Empress Miss Drew, representing the Tri-Cities Empire, which is Hamilton, St. Catharines. So we also have a married couple. They are David and Rochelle Valois, and they represent Toronto. Then we also have John Ribson, who is not only an emperor and an heir apparent, but he is also King Father to elect, and he is also King Father of Canada.
So I think it's very important with being King Father to elect coming up that we get more Canadians involved in the council, for we have a better seat at the table. So I'm very excited that she's expanded the number of Canadians, and I'm very excited that the Canadians were willing to join us, including yourself. I know it was a lot of hard decisions for a lot of people, but I'm really excited, and hopefully everybody does well, and they're there at the end of the year.
I joined being Heir to make a voice for my community, to get the projects that the ICC Council is putting out there into our community, and to be more widespread into the community.
You know, it's amazing. When I first started, there was only 3. Now, like you mentioned, 10. So we're going to be able to hear so many more Canadian voices from across our country, and that's important. As being an international organization, Canada's voice is getting louder and louder, and I think it's excellent.
We want to do some special projects. That the big one that you brought forward with the refugees, bringing them into Canada, doesn't matter where they go. That's one of my big pet projects that I want to get behind. The big deal is how many the Canadian courts coming together and how much can we raise and how many people can we help to get safe into Canada and give them a better life.
Oh, Canada, thank you so much for your work. This is Sister Fancy Pants for Outlook TV.
It's time for a break.
We're going to catch up with Fancy in Calgary.
I'm coming.
You're not allowed. You stay. I'm going to go.
Hey, welcome back to Outlook TV. My personal favorite story of the year, T shows us who he's rubbing out in 2024 at the circus.
T, who dat?
We are at Rubbout 2024, the 31st edition, making it the longest running rubber event in North America. There's new organizers telling us what events they have this year and what they have in store for the next 5 years. Let's go check it out.
We have several events. We have demos. We have parties, 2 parties, Friday and Saturday. And then Saturday, we also have the gear swap. We have several demos on Friday and Saturday. So that's what we have. Local vendors. Number 1, we have definitely the artist for our banner and logo this year, Neil Jensen. We also have Spiky Pop, who specializes in leather accessories. We also have Ice Cream Sunday. He specializes in thongs lingerie.
I had a team of creators that helped me create the look for Rubbout this year and what our theme was going to be.
Attracts you to rubber?
I think it's the entire feel of rubber when you wear it. I know some people like the look of it as well.
So we also have the vac bed and the vacuum. So yeah, it provides tactile sensations. It enhances your sensation.
I always really wanted to try like total enclosure bondage. I've done mummification before, so I thought it would be similar to that. But when I got into the bed and like actually shimmied my way into it, and they turned on the full suction, it was a completely different experience. So it was stuff that I imagined. It was like more than I could ever imagine. It was amazing. There, it was pitch dark. The only real like stimulation I really got was like touch and sound. So I could hear people talking, and it was really hot. Just like not being able to know who was touching me, just knowing that there were like tons of hands on me. I actually got into kink in general because of sport. Like in high school, I played rugby, and I developed like this kink for sports gear. I still have the sports gear now, the sports gear kink now, but that translated into me wanting to try spandex. And from spandex it went to rubber, so here we are. Play is also a really big kink for me. I really enjoy just like putting on the hood and just like popping out, just, you know, head empty, no thoughts. It also is like really comfortable, so when I'm like in a scene and I put this on, like if I'm in bondage, like if I'm being tied up, like it's really easy for me to just let go and just be part of the situation and enjoy like the tight feeling around my body.
So we are volunteers ourselves. The producers, the volunteers, the organizers are all volunteers. We're not paid doing this because we love the event, we love rubber, and then we're opening it up. If you're a leather, if you're a gearhead, if you're into puppy kink, then yeah, you're free and welcome to attend. But deep inside our hearts, we want you to attend and be in rubber. But we have exciting plans for next year for Rubbout. So there will be a lot of new venues, private venues that are exclusive only for Rubbout members. So like this year, we introduced a new venue and they loved it. So Saturday was a blast. And we have actually planned for about 5 years, and for as long as we can, we'll be running Rubbout.
What a great event. My name is T for Outlook TV.
Coming up next, Patrick takes us over to Edmonton, where he's got the latest scoop on the trans protest rally.
And he was also able to catch up with Edmonton MP Randy Boissonneau.
Hey there, it's Patrick Massey, and I am just on my way to Sing with Love. It is a pro-trans sing-along march and rally that's happening today. It starts in the church, and then we're going to walk down to Churchill Square, and we're going to have a outside sing-along and have some speeches. And we're also going to talk to Randy Bersenot, the MP for Edmonton Centre, who just sat down with Premier Danielle Smith, who's trying to push this egregious anti-trans youth policy through. So we're going to talk to him and do some singing. Let's go check it out.
It's a beautiful thing that came out of something that was not so good. We had, of course, the very disturbing policies and legislation proposed by the UCP about 11 days ago. I was heartbroken. I am a choir conductor. My organization works with a lot of youth, and we can see firsthand the difference that gender-affirming care makes for these young people who sing with us and are part of our community. And we just decided that as artists, our best way of responding is always with art, by making music, by being in community together, and just affirming that it's really important to us that trans people are part of our community. It's non-negotiable. We want these kids to be protected. We want them to be safe. We want them to be loved. And so that's what we decided to do, is to come together and make music together. The arts are typically a place, especially for young people, where they can go and they feel safe, they feel seen and acknowledged and accepted just the way they are. So for us as artists to give that opportunity to kids to be visible and safe in who they are is always an important thing, especially when it comes to youth and education. By touting parental rights, Danielle Smith is actually talking about taking away the rights of parents to choose the care that's best for their children, which they're already undertaking with so much seriousness and so much care and so much compassion, with medical assistance, with therapists, with psychological help. This is not something that's undertaken on a whim. This is not something that's trendy. These are kids who are advocating really strongly for who they are and what they need to be safe. And for her to come and intervene in that relationship is just government overreach, plain and simple.
People who have power, when we ask them to share it, feel oppressed, right? And so what we're talking about is not sharing power. We're talking about just making sure that everybody's rights are protected, and we're talking about making space for everybody. Yeah. And because the more diversity we have, the stronger we're going to be as a society. And to the young queer, kids that are watching, because it seems like a long time ago. It's 2024. In 2017, we protected the rights of trans people in the hate legislation, in the Canadian Criminal Code. So that means if somebody discriminates against you when you're getting an apartment or a job, you have recourse now. I think it's always important to be visible and to take the space that is ours. And I think what's happening to non-binary and trans people right now is the fight that we saw take place in the 80s and 90s. And this is a time for the whole community to hold together. If we don't stick up for trans and non-binary people now, who's next? There are people that are, allies and champions right now that we need. And it's important to make sure that we don't lose momentum this summer and that we hold the line and make sure that people keep calling their MLAs, they keep calling their MPs, and that we kill this bill before it gets to the legislature.
Wow, you know what? What a moving event. And, when the community comes together as one in love and united as one, we really make our mark. This is Patrick Massey for Outlook TV in Edmonton, Alberta.
That's all the time we have left for this episode of Outlook TV, but we will be back.
And if you think you can drag, you should check us out on all our social media platforms, or better yet, volunteer with us.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Emily Ann Fraser.
And my name is T.
Stay fabulous, Canada.